welcome to episode 5 of UPO TV. I have another expert that I'm going to be interviewing who's come all the way from Sydney, Australia, here in Dubai. James Schramko, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing, James?
Great.
Doing some research on you, James, you've got a really interesting background. You come from a corporate world, you then moved into the online world, your focus is all about freedom, which is how you live your life, and also some would term you as the underground marketer. Tell us about your world and where you've come from and where you are now.
Okay, well, the last role that I held was as general manager for a Mercedes-Benz dealership, and in that role I was responsible for 72 staff, and it was a $50 million a year in sales revenue company, and I'd worked my way up to that role from humble beginnings as a salesperson, and I realised that it was really sucking my life out. Mm-hmm. Like getting in the car, in my suit, driving off to build up someone else's $1 million business. And as part of that role, I was responsible for marketing, and I inherited a website from the previous incumbent. And I built it up from scratch using all the things I was learning part-time. Wow. In my, after work, I was learning about internet marketing, and I just started applying it in the dealership, and we were getting tremendous results. And then I thought, well, gee, if I can do this for someone else, why can't I do it for myself? And I set about building...
How long ago was that?
Well, I started learning about internet marketing 4 years ago. Okay. And it was about 3 years into it, I was able to let my boss know that I no longer needed his services.
So you built a part-time business for 3 years.
Yeah.
Then said bye-bye.
Yeah.
And now you've been doing this full-time for what, just over a year?
Yeah, a year and a half.
And I understand you left a $300,000 a year job.
Yeah.
And now, without disclosing your exact figures, but you make a 7-figure income.
Oh, I'm doing a lot better now, yeah.
That's a phenomenal story.
Because you can do a lot with, I was able to replace my income with my part-time job. And as soon as you let go of that 70 or 80 hours a week commitment, then you can be a lot more productive, and also you can work a lot less as well.
There's people listening to this now and watching this thinking, I want a piece of that. I want a piece of what James has got. The freedom that he has. You work from home most of the time. You spend quality time with your family, I understand, and that's your world. That's what you do.
I can work pretty much anywhere as long as I can have access to the internet at some point, within a day or two. And that means travel. So I've travelled a lot with my family. We do things that other families can't do. So if we want to live at the beach, we just go and move to the beach for 6 months. We're not tied to a geographic location anymore. And I've travelled a lot since I quit work.
So let's go through some of the maybe strategies or steps that you've gone through to help our viewers. If they were starting off now, what could be 1 or 2 things that they could do to start their journey of having this freedom and lifestyle that you have? The
first thing is to actually believe that it's possible. So I think it's pretty much won or lost in the mental game. So there's a lot of hostage mindset people out there in employment where they're just walking around in some sort of zombie trance. They're not even thinking that they can have a life beyond that. As far as they're concerned, life sucks. They have to go to work, they go home, they watch TV, and then they go to sleep. Yes. And then they bitch and moan about the government and the tax and their boss and all of this. But as soon as you accept that there is a better life out there and you want to move towards it, and you believe it's possible, then suddenly the sort of steps that will get you there will start to become apparent. So the chances are you'll probably need some education, and you'll probably need some tools, and you'll probably need to find out who's already done it and model from what they've been doing.
Got it. And there's no quick route, is there? I mean, it's taken you 4 years to get to where you are now. Some people believe that they can buy a box or buy some products or get some coaching or mentorship from someone, and next week they're going to be a millionaire. That's not the case, is it?
There's no reason it would take them 4 years. Because there's people like me who have education environments that fast track that. So I've had success stories of students who have been able to generate, say, $100,000 within a few months. And that's because they're getting the concentrate version. So imagine me spending, say, 3 or 4 hours a day for 4 years to go and weed out all the junk and find the good things, and then I just put all the good things here and get rid of all the junk. And then I format those things into easily absorbable chunks. So I've invested a lot in my education to become a good teacher,
Yes.
and to be able to pass that on. So those people will benefit from that, and also all the assets that I have in form of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You build up contacts within the industry, and you can quickly identify what things work and what tools you need. So I can pass those on to people.
Okay. So mindset, I understand about getting the right advice.
Yeah.
You've got hundreds and hundreds of websites, I understand. So, could you give us some tips on where one place somebody would start when it comes to maybe their first site? And could you give us some tips there and ideas?
Yeah, the first thing to do is identify what I use a filter to identify what things I should be working on, because as soon as you know the skills that I know, you have unlimited power. And that, I know it's a bit cliche, but every single thing
so
becomes...
So show Unlimited Power Online. There you go. UPO.
I'll give you an example. The chair that we're sitting in is probably manufactured by someone who sells chairs to somebody. Or we could decide if we want to get into that market. So we could go and set up websites to sell these chairs, or that table, or the cameras. And they're all great big markets.
Of course.
So I identify what I have an affinity with. So if I'm interested in chairs, or if I'm interested in camera equipment, then what I'll do is zone in on that and start seeing who's selling stuff already, how are they selling it, and how could I quickly model from that and get into that market with a slight twist. Be slightly different, but be more appealing to the buyer.
And what percentage of your businesses with your websites are product related? Like the examples you've just given are product related versus pure services?
I haven't broken it down into percentages, but I have a combination. I sell my products, I sell other people's products, I sell physical products, digital products, services, and a lot of them can be 100% automated. Like they involve zero human input once they're set up. So I call them like automated profit machines. So you set it up.
Some of the other experts I've interviewed already, and no doubt will interview in some of the other episodes, are using a lot of virtual assistants and virtual employees. Are you doing the same?
Well, I have no staff, so I've been able to run my empire without any staff. So I have a team of outsourced people. You don't need a big team though, because once you have a big team, then you become a manager. So I have one strategy that I'm not sure that many people are aware of, and that is that I outsource my management. So rather than me having to see, we can talk about outsourcing to writers, but then you have to test their work and see if they're any good, and you've got to run with them, and sometimes you have to
So you're outsourcing to someone else who manages them?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never come across that before.
Yeah, no, it's not commonly discussed, but I pretty much outsource the management of those things. So now I'm dealing with one person. They can do all that stuff. I don't want to do that stuff.
Do you pay them a fixed amount of money, or do they share revenue with your success?
There are no rules on that. So in my case, sometimes I have partnerships where we have a percentage split. So I do licensing deals where I say, look, I've got the whole system, I've got all the templates, you're the expert, you use my system, and we'll 50-50.
So you're just saying there about the concept of outsourcing managers.
Yeah.
Where does one go to find a good manager that you can outsource to then?
Well, that's another thing. Most people talk about outsourcing services, places like Odesk and Guru Lance, and I've never ever once used one of those services.
Elance is another one that we
Elance,
use.
they all talk about it. Not in 4 years. I've never had to once use them. I've always used referrals, word of mouth, contacts, because once you know the players in the business, you'll find the good source of information.
And the outsourced managers, are they outsourced locally, or are they typically in a completely different country?
I have people in Australia, the United States, London, and Philippines and India.
Okay.
That I'm aware of. Now, there's probably people working for me in other countries, but I never see, touch, feel their information. I'm just getting the money comes into my bank account, indirectly. And
how many hours do you physically spend on your business a week now?
It's totally optional, but I spend about half a day because it really is my passion.
Okay.
But when I'm travelling like I am at the moment, I'm probably spending not more than 30 minutes a day just to
Well, I admire that, and I like that because I think you mentioned that you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
And there is a distinction there between someone who says they only work a few hours a week on their business and that's it, versus someone who doesn't class it as work.
Yeah.
And they still enjoy what they do. Because I fall into that camp. I could do what I do for hours and hours every day, but that's because I enjoy it.
You won't find many entrepreneurs who really and truly don't do any work at all.
Yeah.
really, unless they hate what it is that they created. You're going to want to be engaged. It's just something that's built in, I think. I like growing empires and the challenge, and it's fun.
Great. Well, we're going to step out for a few seconds, see you in action on stage, and we'll be right back.